Yeah. I think Zoom removed the option to download join from browser.
Mm, stupid, bro. They gotta pay
Yeah.
for record.
On Zoom as well?
It has like a 40-minute limit, but I already
Yeah, that's
paid.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, where were we? We were talking about why am I in good state? Yeah. This is going to be very important for the listeners as well.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I was struggling with just getting back into game after my surgery, and I remember Sergio said, or Johnny said, spam what you can. And I was trying to spam compliments, but I wasn't able to do it.
Mm.
So for past 2 days, it's been a rut. So today I just spammed ask directions, and man, I was able to do back. I mean, for ask directions, I have no, I guess, no anxiety. I was just able to do bam, 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 straight six ask directions within like
Yeah.
5 minutes, and then complete my task for today, right? Because I would need to do
Yeah.
50 approaches before I do proper game. That's what I'm trying to do next. Because from next week I'm going to do proper game. I'm trying to spam 50 approaches before that because I know 50 approaches in a week really elevates your state.
Yeah. That's great. For me, I had this recent realization that if you do game for 2 hours instead of 30 minutes, it's quite beneficial. Like you get into state after like massive action. And yeah, I used to think like just doing 3 to 5 reps is enough. But it's like if you do
Never.
2 hours, it's like it's better. You get
Bro,
into
I
state.
told you this ages ago. After six, seven approaches, you're actually in state. So why would you stop? And you back then you were doing 3 to 5 every day. But I guess your state was generally very high, so you didn't notice. But definitely, bro, I said like you need to do 15 in a session. Unless you're in a really nice instant date that you kiss closing and then you might close, then sure. But I always say like you need to do 15 approaches in a session. That's why I, even though everyone was against me, Kyle, everyone, you have to day in, day out. I was always the guy going against him and like you need to it's better to do 3 3 hour sessions a week or 2 4 hour sessions and do like 15 to 20 approaches each session other than rather than doing 3 to 5 every day. I don't think that does anything. And when I was in Todd V's boot camp, he told me I should do 3 to 5 a session. It's okay, but he also said I've changed so much in 3 months. He's never seen a growth like this, and just keep doing what I'm doing. So back then, that's what I was doing, right? Not every day, but when I'm doing it, 15 approaches in a second.
So you're telling me you did it like 2, 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week, like
No, no,
10 to
no, never
15.
4 days, 2 to 3 days. That's it. But weekly,
Yes.
my target was 50 approaches.
Mm. Yeah. Guess it depends though. Like it's some guys, especially like a lot of my clients, they don't have time in the weekdays. So it's like 20 minutes, 3, 5 approaches, and it kind of works. So, but yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
a
but could
choice.
it be better? Could it be better? That's what I'm saying. Because what I was doing, I was just doing Wednesday shitty sets because Wednesday there's not much volume, but I was just doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bro. I wasn't doing weekdays anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, depending on your situation, I guess you can choose.
Yeah,
But
but
if you had a
I think
choice,
yes. But what I'm trying to say is like anyone who's serious needs to do 15 sets a session, and you can do it on weekends. You know what I mean? Like 2 to 3 days is all you need. From what I remember, I got
mm,
so good so quick is I was only doing it on the weekends when the volume is so high. The girls have time, you can close them.
mm,
And during the weekdays, man, I never found volume any unless you're going to the mall and like shops. Usually they tend to be like schoolgirls underage anyway.
Yeah, that's great data, bro. That's good
Yeah,
data.
you should try tell them that. Like instead of 3 to 5, 20 minutes, they should go 2 to 3 hours and try to do 15 and spam what
Yeah.
they can. If it's too hard to do the whole set, just ask direction. For me, the safest ask direction is, do you know where I can get water? And it can work anywhere in the subway, in the mall. And usually it's like, oh, do you know where the subway is? Do you know where the tram is? And it might be you at the tram station. So she'd be like, what the fuck? Oh, it's right there. What are you on about? But if you can always ask, where can I get water?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's like, yeah. That's why my status so good today, right? Like I was able to spam 6 ask directions, I think, in the span of 5 minutes, man. It was just like boom, 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 and done. And then by then I knew I can like go for a longer set now.
Hmm. Yeah. In my experience, if you do like three, no, five approaches daily, it takes you minimum 4 days to 10 days to get into state. Rather than doing that, yeah, just maybe pick like a couple days throughout the week and do like 15 approaches. That's maybe more efficient time-wise.
Exactly, man. Right? Like it's because think about it when you're working. I don't know if I spoke about it with you or someone else. Like, yeah, with you, right? Last week, I was saying how it takes me an hour or two to get into get in the flow of doing a particular task. So instead of dividing my day between multiple projects, I divide my week into multiple projects. So one day I might just be working on one app, and then the other day I might just be working on game. And this way, when I'm working on an app in 1 hour, it's like I'm in that flow. And then by the time I get in that flow, I can't just switch tasks. It's more efficient for me to just continue working on that particular subject, and I can achieve a lot in that day.
Yeah.
Instead of if I split it throughout 7 days, I would achieve less. And I remember, you remember Tucker, our friend who also does
Yeah.
game, and he had this YouTube video about the 1 day month, right? And
Yeah.
he would say, do everything, all you want, all month, and then the one day you need to do what you wanted to do that whole month, you just do it. And
Mm.
he did it with, he was trying to screenwrite a script, and he was able to do it in a day when he did the 1 month day. Instead of him having to take like, usually he gets blocked like writer's block, and like he ends up spending weeks doing nothing. Instead of doing that, he just had fun all month, and then one day just sat down and did it in like 12 hours.
Yeah. It does make a lot of sense, especially if we think about it in like other endeavors. Like, for example, you're playing sports, like, for example, soccer. You warmed up for 30 minutes and then you're going home. Doesn't make any sense, right? You learn more throughout like a longer time span. So, if we make an analogy of like other things, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I think that's much better. But it's good we discussed this. I don't think we've discussed this before in depth.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially day in, day out, it sounds cool. It sounds very productive. It sounds very disciplined, but in reality, it's just not how it works. You just don't learn that much.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was never that guy anyway. And now that I have more self-esteem, I push back a lot these days on people's ideas. Before I would just go along with it with that low self-esteem. But these days I'm really pushing back a lot.
So self-esteem, I think like people can see it as like inner game, having more confidence in themselves. Like, what's the main thing that really helps you?
Game and therapy, man. It's not a single main thing. Therapy also helped a lot. As you know, I've been going to therapy for like 2.5 months now. And game. I think game just in general builds a lot of self-confidence, but you can have fake confidence, like some of the coaches we know they have this fake confidence.
Mm,
But with therapy, I was able to reflect all the things I did in game and talk about it.
mm,
That's- And like I've done like what 20 hours of therapy now, and then there's so much you talk about it and realize, like when you break things down. Um, and I think a combination of those really helped me, not just one or the other.
yeah.
How about
Then
you?
me, I have quite a story. It's like back in Sydney, I used to get some level of results, but I would say I was still kind of like chasing. If some girl wouldn't text me back and I think she was hot, it was like, oh fuck, like heartbroken. So coming back to Korea, I was like not getting results, just like in Sydney, because like the environment's different, language difference, culture difference. And I was thinking, I'm getting crushed here. Since I don't have the external validation from women, not getting the numbers, really crushed. So I'm like, is this really the way? So that's actually when I started to look into myself. And yeah, I looked into a lot of different coaches like Owen Cook and like inner game spiritual guys. And yeah, that's how it kind of helped me. And a couple months later, I actually got better results compared to Sydney. I had multiple girls that were higher quality, but also it was like they were chasing me more, right? One girl coming out to a different city just to see me, stayed at a hotel for a couple days. She paid all the money for some reason. Another girl, since I'm not texting her, she's like 1 week later, she's calling me at like 1 a.m., right? So yeah, that's how I started with the inner game.
Oh, if I'm really intrigued, because I think I'm at the stage where I was chasing before, like you were in Sydney a few months back. I was in that stage where I was chasing the women, but these days I've kind of given up on that, and then I just do newer sets. So what do you do? Like, can you quantify that? Like, how were you able to do that, like where they're chasing you? Did you just stop caring, or did you talk to them differently? What happened?
It's that was actually my question for you, bro, because I was like, there's so many factors. I can't really put a hand on one single thing that happened to me.
But okay, so when you say did she call you in the middle of the night, one came over and stayed, were you still talking to them, texting them, or just out of nowhere they just started doing that?
It went like this. Since I went on multiple dates with both of those girls, like five, six, 7 dates, it's like
Without closing them?
I did close. I did.
Okay.
But yeah, but it's like the more I meet them, the more it wasn't really for me. Like I lost interest. The more I meet them, the interest level goes down. So when that happened, the ratio of like contacting, I wasn't really giving them anything. Like less texting, less attention. And then eventually they're like, why aren't you texting? So I think that's how it happened.
So did it um were your texts, did you write them specific way, or you were just disinterested, smaller text, not replying in time?
it came off very genuine because I wasn't genuinely like really attracted to them. So yeah, I would
Mm.
say there wasn't a specific way or method I tried, but it was more like, yeah, just disinterest.
And when she texts, you reply in a couple of days, but just answer and maybe ask a question related to that, right?
Not really, but it's like this. Like they text me and I'm like, "Oh, hey, how's it been?" Engaging for a while and then disappear. Engaging for a while and then disappear.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So I have one girl chasing me, this German girl right now, and I've closed her. Same thing happened when I was near her city. She said, "Yeah, I'm actually near there. Let's meet up." And then I reclosed her. She stayed over at my hotel. Then after that, she's been texting me here and there, commenting on my stories. But what I'm doing is when she comment, like today, she commented on my story about what I was eating, and she said, "Yeah, French people do it really nice." To that, I just responded with like, "Yeah, actually, but I've been eating too much of this particular thing, and I think I'll get fat." And then that's it. And then she's responding back, but before she also tried to talk to me and like, how long are you there and what are you up to these days? And then I'm like, yeah, yeah, this is this. I went here. It was really nice. Hope all is well with your university. This is the kind of replies I'm giving back. And what you're telling me is like you're doing the same. Oh, hey, how everything is good. Hope everything is good. And this, two, three back and forths, and then just close the conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And we are getting the same results where they're chasing us. So I guess I'm just at the beginning of where you were a few months back when the girl started chasing you.
Mm, maybe. Yeah. And I can't really have a grasp, like because my interest level in women in general has kind of dropped.
Same for me as
You
well.
mm. I
And
guess
then I
it's
see
because
more
like
chasing now.
I guess it's because like the ego part has gone away. It's like I have to meet hot girls. I have to achieve this in my life. And kind of like achieving it, it's like it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah, actually, same for me. It's not a big deal anymore. I've closed enough and I'm more like getting back into work and doing projects and like doing things other than game now.
Mm. And 1 year
And I
back, like I remember you telling me women are sometimes like approaching you, but you can't talk to women. You can't make the first step. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, but since I've had game, they haven't. Oh, there was one in Stockholm, this Norwegian girl. I was just getting a drink at the bar and she came over and started talking to me, I guess. And then there was one in Denmark as well. In the past year, it's happened to me twice. No,
Mm.
there was actually, let's say five or six times it's happened to me. But yeah, which is yeah, it happens to me five to six times in a year.
Bro, I remember like you when you first told me that thing, like girls sometimes approach you. There was this other dude listening into what you just said, and you remember his face like totally was like shocked with
You remember
envy.
who he was? I don't know.
Bobby,
Maybe yeah, I remember that as well.
Bobby, yeah.
A lot of these guys don't work on their look, right? I've always worked on my look. Like have a nice stubble, done my hair proper, wear nice clothes. So he can do that as well. He just doesn't do it.
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if we'll get sued when we talk about other people's names there. This, so let's do a disclaimer. Everything we talk about is
Fictional
Is
character.
fictional. Yeah, everything you've heard so far on our podcast and everything you will hear in the future is all fictional, and none of this is actually real.
Yeah.
Disclaimer for anyone who's tuning in. Have you actually checked if anyone is tuning in?
I don't know. We have like 3 subscribers.
Really? That, that's
Did you
insane,
subscribe?
bro.
Are you one of them?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was saying he never looked at the viewers until one time he was doing a comedy show, and he asked, "Does anyone listen to the podcast on the stage?" And then there were like 26,000 people screaming there, "Yes!" And then he realized how big he had gotten the podcast, and then finally he checked, and he was like
Mm,
hundreds of thousands of views. But before that, he didn't even check. He would just make the content and post, and I think that's good
mm.
because this way we're genuine. If you're not outcome dependent and like focusing on like what, oh, we need to get more viewers, so let's be fake and talk about this fake stuff.
So what's your thoughts about this though? The other guys are very strategic, looking at the stats, what performed well, what are the best 3 content we created and then replicated. What do you think is a better way to do it? Or do you think there's a balance to it?
I think, bro, it's like what I've always said. There's many roads that lead to a destination, and sometimes they take the equal time. You might have 2 highways going to the same city, and they both take 2 hours. So how do you know, right? Like once you reach that destination, you know that road works. And I think for some people, it's worked very well. Like Chris Williamson, he does very calculated, very high production podcasts, and that's worked for him. And then the More Plates, More Dates guy, Derek, he does literally no production. It just puts his phone on and then just talks in front of the camera. And that worked
Yep,
very well for him. And for
yep,
Joe Rogan as well, he just had this studio with like um red curtains, and he's got his Jamie, and then people come in and he just talks to them with a mic and headphones, and it's like good production, very nice guests, but no script. So that
mm,
obviously works. He's the biggest podcaster in the world. Chris Williamson method also obviously worked, where it's scripted and flashy. So scripted and production value works. Just production value also work. Then you have no production value, no scripting, which is the More Plates, More Dates guide. That also works. But I guess the bottom line is if the content is good, it works.
yeah. That was exactly what I was trying to say. Commonality is their content gets better and better. And
But one thing though, with Joe Rogan, it wasn't about content and he got famous with the podcast. It was him just talking to his friends about life and shit, just shooting the shit. So it's like, I guess you need one thing or the other. With Chris Williamson, it's everything: production value, content, scripting. With Joe Rogan, it's content, production value. With Derek, it's just content. I guess you need content. No, with Joe Rogan, there wasn't content. It was just production value. So you need not even production value in the beginning.
I
So
think you need,
you can just reach it, man.
yeah, I think you need value. And there's different ways of reaching that value. And same thing
Yeah.
happens with Instagram as well. Like there's guys who's very like scripted, performs well, but other guys who are like super authentic, shows personality, those guys get results as well, right?
But I guess it's different audience. There's this one guy who does game. He's like this Moroccan guy, the dumbest. I mean, pardon my French, but the dumbest guy I've ever seen. He's always like, "Oh, I bought a Rolex," but you can see it's fake. And then he's always taking photos in front of luxury cars. And then when he's talking to girls, he's saying, yeah, I have like 1 million followers on Instagram, but he only has 70,000. But I saw him grow from 10,000 to 70,000. But for me, he's a bit cringe, but I'm not his market, right? So he works for a specific market. And then Chris Williamson, Joe Rogan, Minch Kim is more my market. You know what I mean? Watching you guys' content is more my market. So
Yeah.
that works differently as well, right? I guess. So it's maybe when you take different roads, you just meet different kind of people. I guess if you're going from Australia to Europe, if you go through Thailand, you would meet different kind of people, and if you go through Dubai, you'd meet different kind of people, whichever paths you take. But you'll end up in Europe in 20 to 24 hours in both roads, right? Both paths.
Yeah, exactly. If you use flashy edits, if you are more entertainer type, you attract more kids. It's harder to make money.
Yeah.
If it's more educational, you attract more education-based like audience, make more money. So yeah, difference.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Because you and me might not follow Logan Paul, but he's obviously making a lot of money, right? So
Yeah. So
different market.
mm, yeah, exactly.
That's a good one, bro. There was one thing I wanted to talk to you about was the relaxed muscle and the control one. I sent you a voice message as well, right?
Yeah.
And it's really, I'm really getting into sync with it. And an earlier principle of yours that last year I didn't appreciate and didn't agree with was uh, bad frequency. And don't that if you are always having bad thoughts, you're in bad frequency. And I'm trying to avoid that these days.
Mm.
Just the negativity, right? Even if I have negative thoughts, I just like, yeah, I don't need to think about it. I'm just gonna be more
How
mindful,
how
listen.
does that link back to the relaxed muscle though?
No, it's just a complete separate. It could link back, I guess, but it's a complete separate chain of thought. But I was saying I really appreciate that now, what you were trying to teach me last year. And the
Mm.
second thing is the relax and control muscle. I finally realized that because most people are in control, so they're trying to relax like me. But the same knowledge doesn't apply, the same techniques don't apply to me because I'm already pretty relaxed. So I need to go into more control. Because I was trying to follow you, and you said, oh, don't count how many approaches, or some friends of mine as well, I never count or I never write things down. But it's because they're already very control focused in life. And I can see that. Whereas me, I'm super relaxed, so I need those control checks. And when I was like, for the past week, yeah, I'll just approach whoever I find attractive or whoever seems like approachable. I didn't do a single set. But since yesterday, I think I told you, since I put in like at least 5 approaches today, then I really started doing it. And because I added this control mechanism to my game, now I've really started doing it again. For me, it's different.
I think it's kind of different for every person, but also there's commonality as well. So I think of it as like a pendulum, right? You can swing it this way, relax, control. And yeah, what I'm trying to say is in different stages of learning, I think you can have different types of skill set. So, for example, if you're learning how to box for the first time, you're going to be stiff, right? So, you're going to learn how to relax first because you can't throw punches, right? But once you're relaxed, you're authentically relaxed. That's great. But if you want to learn something new, you got to get into control, right? How many sets of hooks, jabs, your posture. And then once you do enough sets with control, you can do it subconsciously. So you go back to relax. So I think it's a pendulum swinging back and forth. And especially when we're trying to make habits, build habits, it's very important for us to use a control muscle, especially it's like if it's difficult. Let's just do like 5 sets today. And then once we get
Okay.
used to it, yeah, you don't really need that criteria because it's like internalized.
I guess at the beginning I was very control focused up until November, like 6, 7 months, where I was like 50 sets a week, 10 night game. Try to do at least one new girl close every week. And then I relaxed a bit too much and didn't keep track of anything. And now I'm going back to control, but not as not as much like need to do this, but still having some control mechanism. So I guess eventually it will be at the center.
Yeah. So I think Owen Cook made this analogy. There's multiple ways to sail the boat. You can sail it, like relax, kick back, but yeah, hold the key, or you can pedal your way into flow state, control, right? So if the wind is not blowing, you need control, right?
Yeah,
If
but if
it's
the
flowing,
wind is blowing too much and you start pedaling, you might go too fast. So good analogy, I guess.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
That's good insight, man. Learning so much. You're like a sensei now, Master Miyagi.
Omega 3, bro. I'm telling you.
When things are wrong. I've been
Omega
taking
3.
omega 3 for years, bro. I don't know.
You did?
Yeah, I've taken omega 3 forever, man.
I think it's this though. I think it's the combination of genetics, but also relaxed muscle. So since you're in relax, it's like control, I would like to think of it as like being an exam situation. You're nervous, like you can't remember things. You don't have like full access to your brain. But after the exam, you're like, oh shit, I know this. Why couldn't I remember? So having access to that release has more access, it helps you to have more access to your brain. So that's why I guess like you and I are kind of excelling in like thought processes.
Okay. I think that's good. Good
Mhm.
insight, bro.
Yeah. So release control, like I think I've been looking at that concept, like looking for that concept for like 20 something years, bro. Like because I was always in control. I thought everyone was in control. I thought that was just life.
Yeah.
And I sucked at learning things. Really sucked, man. So when I first saw that concept, it was like, wow, like this is something I've been looking for my whole life.
Yeah. I guess no one talks about this, right? I've never heard that, but now it makes so much more sense.
Mm. An
You
interesting
should,
thing, my
yeah.
guys, my clients, they used to ask me, bro, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say in the interaction? What do I say? But nowadays, nobody asks that question because they kind of figure it out with the release muscle.
How do you think they did that? Like, what do they actually say?
Um, it's like it's like I kind of remove the pressure out of them. Like you gotta approach in a certain way. And I just tell them, bro, just relax. Like you're not in an exam. And
Yeah,
their
okay.
expectation of what an interaction has to be changed. So I guess that's the main reason.
But what does it typically look like then? They just go approach and then what happens? They just talk normally?
I guess they're in their heads, like, what's the structure? What do I have to
No, no,
say?
no. Now that they have been succeeding, what are they doing instead? They're just talking
Mm.
normally.
Yeah, just talk normally, tease, flirt, have a good vibe. So
Okay, so just like basic concepts, not exactly what to say, just tease a bit, flirt a bit, and have a good vibe.
yeah. So I would say intermediate guys that are just getting dates like maybe 3, 4 dates a month, they're doing that very well. And nowadays, what I'm trying to do is go one step further. Like go to the specifics now, like the structure of the conversation, your mannerisms, what to say, how to tease a bit more specific. So yeah, so more detail, more control. So release to control. That's what I'm doing with the more advanced guys.
Nice. They were much control. You got them to release, and now you're swinging them back to control.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's how you learn. Control, release, control, release. I guess, yeah. That's what I've been doing all my life, thinking about it.
Mm.
I start with control, then I relax, then I go back. That makes
So
sense.
so life is kind of interesting, bro. Like everything is kind of like half true. So control is half true, release is half true. So you need moderation. You need self-love, but also need self-development. So half true. You need to have a good social group. That's good, but also you need your alone time. So it's half true.
Mm.
But
Master
also
Miyagi, bro.
one more thought. So just to go one step further, I think life is kind of multi-dimensional. So if you have like a swinging pendulum here, like control release, you also have like related concepts swinging the other way. And then all these concepts like combined, it's like a very 3D shape of reality, right? So for example, like if you're talking to women, some dudes might come off more masculine, some dudes more feminine. So it's swinging. You might be more assertive with your voice, or you could be more soft, right? So another pendulum swinging. Your structure can be direct or indirect. So all of these things like combined, it's like a 3D structure of reality.
Okay. But what would you say is better? A feminine voice or masculine voice?
I think it's a balance though. And if there's a bell curve, if you're in the middle sweet spot, then great. And maybe more women could respond to the masculine side, but there's always going to be niche market. Some girls like sick looking dudes. Some girls like more feminine dudes. Some girls like short dudes. So
Hmm, you're right.
yeah.
Bro, I matched with a dwarf. Speaking of short dudes, I matched with a dwarf on Hinge, but she was looking good.
Nice.
She
Nice.
was 2 feet 10 inches, I think.
How tall is that in centimeter?
I don't even know.
I guess like quite small.
Maybe like
Oh,
100.
shit.
Let
100?
me check. Let me check. Yeah, let me check.
100 is non-existent, bro. That's like a fetus.
No,
Not a
like 100
fetus.
centimeters is 1 meter, bro. What are you on about?
That's like that's like a kindergarten height.
I just replied to her as well. She's looking cute, bro. 120 centimeter.
120? Bro,
Yeah.
you're gonna go to jail, bro.
Well, she's fucking 27 years old. It's not like she's
I
a
know, but
child, you know what I
you gotta
mean?
be careful, bro.
Yeah, man. I've never done it with a midget. No, sorry, pardon my language. Not a midget, but a short person.
Yeah, okay.
I've never done Aren't you like curious? Wouldn't you want? Wouldn't you want to do it?
I don't know where to start. Where do you want to start?
No, like, wouldn't you want to do it with a short person like that,
Uh,
like a dwarf, with someone experiencing dwarvism?
well, my mom used to say like you shouldn't be like discriminating what you eat, right? So I'm a firm believer that you have to experience everything in life. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about a 500 pound woman?
But there's always exceptions though.
I guess I guess you are not going to be monkey shit, right? So there's
Yeah,
exceptions.
obviously. Mm, obviously.
Mm, there might be someone eating monkey shit out there. But one thing I can say for sure, no one's eating lava, right? Molten lava. No one's ever eating that,
I think
right?
some people.
They must have died then. Like eating molten lava or molten gold. Maybe they ate it once and died, I guess, you know.
I'm eager to say something, but I'm not going to say
Yeah, sure,
it.
sure. But there might be something in the universe that no one has ever,
Tried.
yeah, right?
I'm doubtful of that.
Uh, what about uh uranium?
I bet somebody tried.
I don't know because it's so locked up. Not a lot of people have access to it. And then maybe like the 10,000 people in the world who've ever had access to it didn't
And
want
how
to
about
die, you
this?
know?
How about this? People tried it, but they didn't realize. Like some particles went in
Of
their mouth.
uranium, yeah, I guess. What about star flu like what's it called? The plasma from a star.
Dark dust?
Not stardust, because Earth is stardust. We're all stardust. But the plasma from a star. I bet no one tried that before.
I guess nobody tried that, but we have elements of that. So how are you going to define if you tried it or not?
Bro, in that way, like, then it's everything, right? We've had
Yeah,
atoms. It's
bro,
all
like,
electrons and protons and
yeah,
neutrons, right?
bro, one thought. Recently, I told this to one of my clients, but what's your definition of truth? Because I've been thinking about this and I'm like, there's no objective truth. Everything is a belief. Like what you believe to be true is only it comes from belief. Like for example, like this phone. Like I know this is gonna work tomorrow because I believe in it. I know this building that I'm sitting in, it's not gonna collapse because I believe in it. I know Korea is not gonna collapse because I believe it's not gonna collapse. I know gravity is objective because once I go outer space, there's no gravity. What's your thoughts on this?
What if, bro, a big black guy just rapes you? And then it is true that a big black guy raped you. So, you know what I mean? That's the truth. There's no subjectiveness. His dick
Then,
went into your butthole.
then
Like,
what about 100 years later? How would you prove that's ever happened?
what if he did it on camera? Then 100 years later, you can show the camera footage.
What if it's AI?
No. But we know that camera footage is real. And we have DNA from your butthole that was taken later. That also proves that.
What the fuck is up with your analogy, bro?
Yeah. I was thinking that we might, I don't know if some AI checks all the conversation, because we might get,
I guess what I'm
shadow
really
banned.
trying to say is like the element of time as well. Like if time passes, how will we be sure of anything?
No, but it is true that that happened, right? That's the definition of truth for me.
But truth also is related to concepts and words, right? If you think about sex, rape, it's all conceptual, and concepts change. It's words, it's a thought.
You mean you get butt fucked without your consent? It might
Drop the butt
change.
fuck, bro. let's use your ass as an example. How about that?
Oh, you can't do that. Like that's a switcheroo. You can't. I started this analogy. You can't change it now. You should have started it.
Now you're making up rules.
That is the rule, bro. You know this. You can't just turn it around. But anyway, let's say I go up to the top of that hotel and I throw my laptop from there. It is true that I threw my laptop from the top of that hotel, right? I put it in video. It's like it's always going to be true. It's an objective truth. There's no subjectivity to it. I did not throw it. It did not fall out of my hand. I threw it.
Yeah, and let's talk about I guess we're looping right now, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is what we believe to be true is discovered in the past. And what's discovered in the past needs proof that it's true. How are you going to prove that you threw your notebook?
If I put it on camera with like a specific, really high encryption that no amount of
So,
uh, calculative capacity can ever break that encryption. Right now, we use SHA 256 and everything that can break with quantum computing. And if we did something SHA 256,000, no one can ever break that.
yeah, but if you're saying everything that's on camera, which is unbreakable, is the truth, what if in the future you can break that?
So that's what I'm saying. You would need every atom in the universe to be a supercomputer, which is not possible enable in order to calculate that calculation and break it. That's what I'm saying.
In today's technique,
Yeah, you just up the encryption to more characters.
yeah, but what if it is breakable? Like
It's not.
Bitcoin
That's what I'm
recently
saying.
got robbed from North Korea.
Yeah, but it wasn't because of breaking encryption. That's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is like you can always up the encryption to a point where nothing in the universe can break that mathematical improbability.
Um, that's kind of unrealistic, though.
No, bro. If you knew cryptography, it would be realistic. That's what I'm saying.
But isn't it a war between people who try to protect information and people who try to hack it? So it's
No,
always
that's
evolving.
usually done through phishing. If I send you a link and you open it, that installs a keylogger on your computer, and you manually enter the password, that's not saying encryption failed. That's just someone stealing your password. It doesn't mean that your encryption broke. But right now, Bitcoin uses SHA 256 encryption, which can be broken by quantum computers, but that's 256-bit encryption. Now, if I change that to
Okay,
256,000 bit, even quantum computers will never be able to break that. Every atom in the universe turned into a quantum computer that wouldn't be able to break that. That's insane. It's
okay.
mathematically impossible.
This computer shit is confusing me. So what if you didn't have a video of yourself throwing the notebook?
Well, that's changing the rules. Like you said, you can have. Yeah, how would you prove that? And I said, if I put that in a video with this kind of encryption, that no AI can break it, then it just I was able to prove that I threw my laptop or you got butt fucked.
Yeah.
There are some subjective truths, bro.
Which one? Subjective or objective?
Like, sorry, both subjective, of course, but objective truths.
Okay. Let's talk about
Like
objective
how old you
ones.
are,
Which one do you think objective?
like your hair is black. It's true.
But the color is dependent on the how it reflects light. So if something changes in the formula, you see it differently. And if you see like Instagram posts, some people see like the same post in black or gold. Some people see it in blue. So color is not an objective thing. It's just a refraction of light.
Hmm. You have 5 fingers.
What if,
So you have one thumb on your right hand.
okay, that's a interesting argument. Then what if this everything was like a computer program, like GTA, and then God
No, then
decided
yeah.
we're going to change the code. Now we have two thumbs on every hand.
But at this moment, you have one thumb in your right hand.
Yeah, obviously it is related to reality.
If in right now, objectively, that's true. And if the laws of nature change, then
Then
at
how about
that
this?
point,
Then how about
yeah,
this? If reality isn't how it is, it's how we see it, how we perceive it, just like we can't permeate our finger through our palm, but this is permeable through light, X-ray, right? It has a lot of holes. It's just
yeah.
our perception that we can't permeate this. Then what if our perception changed and for somehow we're in a VR and we have two thumbs? Not in a VR, our perception changed somehow, some way, and now we have two
Then,
thumbs.
then you're changing the physical laws, and basically, then it's a different reality. In that reality, you would have objectively two thumbs on your right hand.
Mm, yeah. I guess I confused with like historical facts or
Yeah,
mm,
historical facts are always subjective, bro.
yeah,
But you
historical.
can't use the same analogy with everything because there are some universal laws that can't be broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For example, there are universal laws, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Like if I throw my sunglasses up in the air, they are going to come down. Unless I'm in space, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Objectively on Earth, they will always come down, no matter what happens.
But what if something happened to Earth?
Yeah, then the physical laws change, and then at that moment, maybe Earth blows up, and I'm on a piece of Earth in space, and I throw it, it never comes back.
Oh,
But
then what if like it's our firm belief that the physics of law is not going to change. But what if the there's a God and he decides, hey, you know what? There should be change now. Every once in 100 years, it's going to change.
yeah, so then objectively, every once in 100 years, the the glass will keep flying up, and that's the objective truth. And that physical law applies.
So the objective truth depends on God. That's what you're saying.
If there was a God, yeah, the objective truth
And is it
depends on the
objective though? Mm.
law of nature.
Then it's if it's coming from God's thought, would that be objective? I guess the law of physics could be objective. That's a result.
Then in that case, the God has thoughts would be an objective truth, wouldn't it?
But it could be random though. It could be
Then the
chaotic.
God has random thoughts is an objective truth.
But how would you know that's true though? Sometimes it
But
could be
it's
chaotic.
not about knowing what is true. It's about what is actually true. You're saying, what if there was a God who randomly thought of this? Then that is true, that the God randomly thought of it. because by saying that, you have made it into an objective truth. It's either I throw these
Isn't that the
sunglasses up in the
definition of
air.
subjective? Because some might
No,
see it
because
as God has,
there's his thoughts are subjective, but the fact that he has random thoughts is not subjective then, right? You can't have both ways. You can't
but
have
what if
throwing
God died?
your then God would have died, and that is an objective truth.
But how would you know God died?
It doesn't matter, because for objective truth to be true,
Because what I'm
you don't
trying to
have
say
to.
here is like there's layers to reality. So it's
Yeah,
like
but what I'm trying to say is like there are some realities that can't be changed. That
what
there
I'm
is no
trying to say
layer.
is it's a layer of realities. Like even if you think like this exists, there's another layer. It could be programmed. It could be coming from somewhere, and that could be programmed from somewhere, and that could be programmed from somewhere.
Yes, but
Mm.
we are able to know if a certain programming is real, or in its existence if it's real or not, right?
How can you tell? For example,
No,
we
I can't
believe.
tell, but if there is
Mm.
something like that, then that would be real. That's what I'm saying. In its own thing, by definition of you saying, what if there is something like that? And if it is true that there is something like that, that is an objective truth. Like,
You
let's
think?
use a different analogy. Let's say we're all in the matrix, right? You're saying
Yeah.
that, and then someone might the AI might change the code of the matrix, but then the fact that we are in the matrix is true, right? There's no layer to it. There's that's one fixed reality. If we are in a matrix, then the fact that we are in a matrix is an objective truth.
So I'm trying to question our level of perception. So are we even able to perceive objective and subjective? That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm. What if we are in a simulation? Then everything is subjective. But that's nihilism, bro. Then then that's saying what we do doesn't matter because we're in a matrix anyway. And I could
It's
come to your place and stab you with a knife, and it doesn't matter because we're in the matrix anyway.
it's just an extreme thought process.
I know. But what's your benefit of thinking in this way? For me, it's nuanced. For me, there's space for both. There are objective truths and there are subjective truths.
Yeah.
For me, if I murder a girl, I'm not going to close her. That's an objective truth for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you could think about the definition of closing. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is it's not about nihilism. It's actually the opposite. So this is actually why I came back to Christianity, actually, because it's like if everything is subjective, we kind of have different thoughts here. It's okay. If everything is subjective, then it's all about belief. Then if you believe that something happened in the past and something is true and it's beneficial for you should believe it. So I'm like, oh, Christianity, Jesus Christ, and the Bible is all about love. So if you believe love is a good thing in this world, which could cure a lot of things, then I believe in Christianity because it's beneficial for me.
Yeah, I
So
get it.
it's not really about like if Jesus Christ really resurrected or not. If he really was a real figure or not. Like it's not really that important for me. It's all subjective at the end of the day, and I want to believe it. So yeah, that's where it's going.
Okay, bro. I get it. Good train of thought there. You know what I was thinking while we were doing this podcast? Initially, you were
Mm.
pretty stressed and you had a bad vibe. No offense. But I was thinking about Joe Rogan's podcast and how he always gets people in sort of a good vibe, unless they are like really brash and arrogant. It's, seeing if our vibe would change and we would get into a really good flow, and I think we did. We ended up with this discussion. We ended up upping each other's states, and
Yeah,
I see how it changed.
better flow, better
Yeah.
flow. Mm. Would you say that's an objective truth? The more time we have, the more input we give in, it's more likely to get into flow state.
This is all subjective truths to me.
Yeah. Because
These are all
there's
maybes.
counter arguments. Yeah.
Yeah. If I jump off this building, then I'm dead. There's no subjectivity to it. For me, that's
Mm.
subjective truth. You know,
Well, what's the
that's what
definition
I'm
of
trying to say.
objective though?
But that is different ways of viewing world, bro. We can do this all day, but I think it's not subjectively positive to each other or our views. It's a stalemate argument.
Mm. Or
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe, depending on the person, the definition of objective and subjective can be different. And it's like a volume knob. Some people think this is enough to be objective. Some people is like, you need more evidence. This is objective. It's like a
Yeah,
volume
like
knob.
some people, everything a doctor says is objective for them. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, of course. Of course, of course. All right, bro. How long has it been? I think we've crossed an hour.
Um, I don't know. Did we? I don't know.
Maybe. Wow, you can't really check into him. Or you can. Yeah, actually, 1 hour, 2 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
I have good timing. We spoke about the relax and control muscle in depth, right? Because that's what I wanted to do today. Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
let's
did.
keep going.
Relax
Nice.
and control.
2, 3 subscribers. Wow, I never thought.
But why all of a sudden relax and control? Why is that your focus?
Because it never clicked to me before, but it finally I understood the concept and saw it. Well, what is that? Ah, this samurai, the rings, the book he's written. It's Miyamoto Musashi, right?
Musashi,
Yeah, Miyamoto Musashi. Once you see the way, his famous quote.
you cannot unsee it.
But no, once you know the way, you see it in all things. Let's actually Google this. This is one of my favorite quotes.
Mm.
Miyamoto Musashi quote. It's funny guy, man. He once beat a samurai with a wooden sword that he made out of his boat. I was
Mm.
looking at looking at one of his a YouTube video about him. Okay, he has a lot of quotes. Once Yeah, if you know the way broadly, you see it in all things. Or a better way to say it, once you know the way, you see it in all things.
Mm. Yeah,
You know what I mean? But once
yeah.
I saw this relaxed control thing, I see it in all things, sort of.
Mm. But what is relax though? What's the definition of relax? Because the
Yeah.
more I explain it to my clients, it kind of gets more concise. It kind of becomes more clear. But what's your thoughts on that? Let's wrap it up with this.
What is relaxed? I think when you remove the constraints of time to truly observe something,
I think it's letting go.
letting go.
letting go because including me, a lot of guys think you need to act a certain way. You need to act a certain way. I gotta be more like this. I gotta be more like this. But in reality, it's just like taking a shit. You don't force your shit out, you let go. It's just like
No,
masturbating. You let go.
I don't know, bro. I'm not letting go. But I'm joking. But that's good, bro. That's a good way to end. That's a good
Mm.
analogy. We are great with analogies today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited, man, where this goes. Let's do it.
And, and I guess just to add one more thing, it's letting go of obsession. Obsession about results.
Outcome independence,
Yes.
like RSD guys say.
Mm.
Yes, true. Very true.
But if you have too much relax, that's too much.
Okay. Bro, start putting your Instagram and stuff in your description as well. Let's get in that habit.
Like what?
In the
How?
description. In the description of the video. You know how Joe Rogan says, if you subscribe to this guy, boom, 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 you should subscribe to Minch Kim below in the description. We should start doing that.
Ah, yeah. I didn't understand.
Why
So
not?
from YouTube to Instagram or Instagram to YouTube?
No, YouTube to Instagram. As we get more and more subscribers, we should stre streamline them to the main content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. Anyway, it was good talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Control and
See you
release, bro.
next week, bro. See
All
you
right.
next week.
See you next week.